Good morning, good morning. I know you can hear me this time. It's the motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. And that is what you've got to believe. Success is yours, ours for the taking. The motto of these shows, that's the mantra you must never forget. Yeah. Defeat is optional. Success is your choice. There you go. There you go. How are you feeling? Because I am feeling fantastic. And today will be a truly exciting podcast. Today we are returning to that country of Nigeria. Extremely important country. One that has significant economic prowess for the future. It has incredible potential. Alongside, of course, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, South Africa, and other countries, which are all coming together in our Pan-Africanist view of the world. In unity is strength. But it's up to you, I've got to say, it's up to you. It's up to you. Today's podcast will remind us what we need to do together to help ourselves, help our families, and indeed to help the wider world. Okay. So the subject for today's show, which will be in approximately 40 minutes or so, okay, will feature Nigeria again. It's very important because it has significance throughout the world, not just, of course, for Nigeria. How you can use peace to create a better society. I'm going to say it again. How you use peace to create a better society. The subject today, I'm told, the motivator should not tackle. I say to you all, gosh, if we did not tackle this, the very premise upon which the motivator podcasts are based upon would be undermined. That is to create, to exchange good quality, verified information, in other words, good data, in other words, so you can make good decisions for yourself, your family, and the wider communities. And then together we can transform the world. Okay? I recall a much earlier guest of mine, King Gabala of the African Continental Unity Party, and he described the situation in which the individuals take responsibility for the collective outcome. Not worshipping idols, not worshipping individuals, but understanding that we're all change makers for our personal lives, family lives, and wider society's lives. That's the premise of the motivator shows. That's the premise. And together we can transform the world. So we'll tackle all subjects head on. We'll be unrelenting. We'll not be afraid. We'll not be afraid. We'll tackle them honestly, get to the kernel, the source of the issues, so we can better understand those issues. And through that understanding, we promote personal growth, because it's in the personal growth of the individual that cumulatively has impact on society. Oh yes. So today's show in 40 plus minutes will focus on the people of Biafra. Yeah, the Biafra, which is an integral part of Nigeria. Okay, its legal premise and the desires of the people there. Oh yeah, oh yeah. We do this right across the world, huh? We do this in the Caribbean, we're doing it here in Africa, and we do it here in Britain, in Europe, where I'm based currently. Oh yeah. So individual circumstances, what we will look at, understand, and therefore be able to make better decisions about the truth of those situations. I hope that is understood by all, not just by some. Okay, we'll get to it. It is good. It is good. It's the motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So let's go right into it. I did want to spend just 1 minute or so reminding you of a few of my past guests, and some, in fact, they've all been outstanding human beings. And what I'm reminded by when each time I have my guest is the incredible potential that exists in society right across the board. I want to give a big thumbs up, of course, and appreciation to Paul Chambers, okay, for a more recent podcast, where he was reminding us to honor the ex-servicemen and women of previous world wars, particularly, yes, the First World Wars, to appreciate the number of people of African and indeed Asian heritage who gave the ultimate price, their lives, in that war. So I want to honor and respect the fallen heroes and heroines. And remind us, of course, the British West India Regiment Heritage Trust, yeah, or BRIGHT as they call themselves, yeah, are ensuring that memory is not lost. In a month's time today, in a month's time here in Britain, we'll hold the annual remembrance services to remember the fallen heroes and heroines. So our most recent podcast, and if you haven't watched it, I urge you to go to our YouTube channel. It's there. I urge you to watch it. It's there in Facebook. I urge you to watch it. If in doubt, ask questions. And what we discovered here in the Motivators family is that there were family members who served in the First World War. I was shocked. A number of my family members were and gave up their lives in the First World War. I was shocked. So I want to honor and respect them and respect your ancestors who served in the World War and indeed those who gave the ultimate price. These are the unsung heroes and heroines. Because I have to say this, the dastardly British, French, and others sought to rub their names out of history, not include their names on the memorials. Can you imagine? I have to say that. I use the term deliberately, although that is being put right by the British and the French and others right now, in recognition that was a shameful act. I want to give praise to Paul and members of BRIGHT who are visiting those memorials, who are visiting those graves, those cemeteries, and visiting those graves and holding services in remembrance of those fallen heroes and heroines. Thank you for your service. And closer to the date, we'll hold an additional podcast where we'll focus on men and women from Africa, directly from Africa, who served in the First and Second World War. Watch this space. Watch this space. You have not been forgotten. Praise be. I also now want to go on and remind you of a more recent contributor of the largest Caribbean forum here in Britain, called indeed the Caribbean Forum. Deliberately, of course, the Caribbean consists of many countries, many nationalities, but ultimately one people. The Caribbean Social Forum is Britain's largest Caribbean organisation. and serves to support those, particularly those in their elderly, support those in their social, economic, and spiritual needs. I want to thank Pamela and of course, all of the leadership who were represented on that podcast for your service. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep up the good works. And details of both the BRIGHT, the British West India Regiment Heritage Trust, and the Caribbean Social Forum will be in the details of this podcast for your delectation. I also want to remind you of that interesting show based upon the reaction I received to it. Africans choose a healthy lifestyle. I will say that stimulated some interest, did it not? I want to thank Stephen Sarley of the Marindina Foundation on his sterling work. Okay, we will publish shortly the podcast that relates to that interview. It is jam-packed full of information. Okay, it will also have details how you can contact the Marindina Foundation. It is an important contribution to promoting health and well-being and spiritual health, not only for people of African heritage, but peoples of the world. I want to compliment Stephen Sarley for his outstanding works. There's much more we'll hear from him, be assured. Okay, be assured. And the podcast that relates to Africans Choose a Healthy Lifestyle will be published shortly as well. But the live interview is again on the YouTube channel, so please go have a look. I want to honour and respect Her Royal Highness Queen Sur the First, a royal force for global leadership and women's empowerment. I want to thank you, Mum, Your Royal Highness, for your contribution to society and your glorious leadership, wise leadership you demonstrated on this podcast. We want to thank you. You've created great interest in the traditional leaders across Africa, indeed the Caribbean, and demonstrated your grace and your ability to influence in a truly positive way. Because you understand, in unity is strength. And the people of Ghana can be honored to have such a person of your majesticness in their presence. I say to the Ga people, praise be. I say praise be to you all. Respect to you. Well done. Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you. I also want to give a big shout out to Lillian of the Mother Africa Youth Foundation from Kenya, reminding us, of course, that 75% of Kenya's population is under 35, so it's important to invest in the youth. We'll get her back and other colleagues of that foundation. They want our support to raise resources so they can continue their work. We are happy to support you. We'll get you back in here and we will support you. Because if we do not invest in the young, we do not have a future. I say again, if we do not invest in the young and give them the best possible start in life, we do not have a future. So you have our 100% support and we'll be in touch with you shortly. And the details I will share momentarily. I'll come back to you, don't you worry. And lastly, we also want to give light to the subject that we tackle with truly stimulated interest. Do black women, African women, here in the West in particular, but I notice on the continent as well, hate their hair? That truly stimulated interest. I want to thank Kelly for bringing that subject to us and tackling it head on. It is a subject of significant social interest. Because what defines beauty? Who defines beauty is important. Who defines what is the professional appearance of an African woman when it comes to their hair? And what should it look like? Yes, simple question, poignant question, and gets to the fundamentals of what is happening, particularly in the West and the Western influence on Africa and African beauty standards. We need to tackle this subject head on. What was clear that there are hair products which are harming women of African heritage, actually harming them. The long-term use is clearly harming them. We need proper regulation of those products which are being used in the hair. We need to have clear investigation the use of weaves and wigs and their harmful effect it is clearly having on women, their long-term use. But women are totally unaware of the impact. The receding airlines impact on your physiology is profound. This is a subject we must continue to tackle. We had scheduled a date for which we would hold an initial public meeting to tackle this subject head on. But that date has had to be deferred because there is another important meeting on the same date, unfortunately. But these things happen. Nevertheless, we will hold the event, but at an alternate date. Okay? So I'll put the details on the screen just for your delectation. It has now been deferred, so the Black Hair campaign has been moved from the 18th of October to the 17th of November. Okay, further details will follow. So this date has now been cancelled and will be in November. Okay, I'll give further details later on. Further details will appear later on. So be ready for it. It will be exciting. And my last announcement, of course, I just want to make sure this one is understood. We want to ensure that as we progress as a podcast, that there's equality for all. Okay. We are particularly interested in promoting support for young people because they are the future. They are the future. We want to ensure that such people are given a good start in life. So the month of November for us, with one exception in terms of the podcast, will be devoted to young people. In other words, those people under 35 from our perspective. So watch this space. It will be truly exciting. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I want to move to another focus for these shows, and that's you and your lifestyle. Extremely important that we tackle this one. Why is it important? Because we notice the numbers of funerals we have to attend. We notice the number of particular people of African heritage who are overweight, and particularly women. We notice the number of illnesses that pervade our families: diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, cancers, lung conditions that all seem to pervade our communities. In the Caribbean, diabetes is an epidemic, but it's not discussed to any real extent. This is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. So we will tackle these subjects and spend just a few minutes to understand why it's important we take care of our health. We hear these messages every day, but are ignoring these messages and continue a lifestyle that is not beneficial. I urge you to hear the messages of a man who's devoted his life to public health and is indeed the public health director for London here in Britain, the capital Britain, has enormous influence on the National Health Service. Okay? A health service that we're all proud of, I might add. If you're in the United States, I don't understand why you do not have a national health service. Yep. One that is paid for through your taxes. So there's no chance of you going bankrupt just paying for your health. Can you imagine? But this man has devoted his life to our health. What I want you to do, just for a minute or two, to hear his wise words, to hear his advice to those of you who are at least thinking about your health and are prepared to take on board what are just common sense advice. The interview will be in 18 minutes. Wait, watch this space. Here we go. But listen to the words. Professor Kevin Fenton says, I'm a public health director. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your health. 1. Mindful and balanced eating. Nourish wisely. Eat whole, balanced meals with awareness to support energy and well-being. 2. Get outside. Be with nature. Time outside reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens your connection to the world. 3. Stay curious, stay engaged, explore new interests, keep your mind sharp, build social contacts, and boost your happiness. 4. Get active, move it or lose it. Move daily, lift weight, and do cardio. Exercise, improve physical, mental, mood, and energy. 5. Prioritize rest and sleep. Disconnect, rest. Quality sleep supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall health. Simple messages, huh? Simple messages. And I urge you to replay those messages, simple messages. And if you follow those messages, would have a transformative impact on your life, yeah? Our lives together, because in unity is strength. And if you take on those basic messages, it will impact your life because you're taking responsibility for your health and well-being. So what I'm heartened by are the numbers of you who've heard these messages, understood its importance. This is not a message that we give in order to gain personal wealth and gratitude. No, it is for you. It's to enable you to make good decisions for yourself, your family, and the wider community. Because if you live a longer, healthier, more fit lifestyle, you're less likely to be burdened by illnesses as you get into your older age. So it's good to start if you mean to go on, to stay healthy, to stay physically fit, mentally agile, yeah, spiritually enhanced. And you devote yourself to spend time each day to your personal development, physical development, your mental development, your spiritual development. You'll live longer, healthier lifestyle. This advice is given to you not because I'm going to become enriched by it, will not become a millionaire. It is advice, it's information, good quality information for you, just for you to take on board. And if you take it on board, those who are younger will see and observe your behavior and seek to mimic your behavior because clearly it's benefiting you, and what benefits you and attracts others to you. And in doing so, we transform the world. You are the change makers, as King Kabbalah of the African Continental Unity Party would say. You are the change makers. You're the person that will make the difference. So what I'm heartened by is the numbers of you who've heard these messages and have come together in common aim and common purpose. That understanding, if we work together in unity, is strength. I want to show you an example. People have come together in common aim and common purpose, pulled their resources, and are now exercising together. Observe their exercises just for a few minutes. And do not sit there and watch them. We expect you in your chair or get up and just to move your body just for a few minutes. We've got a lot of talking to do henceforth, I can tell you after this. Okay? So together, we will transform the world through our personal action. We'll have that ripple effect. Observe. Yes, get up now. Here we go. There you go. Watch this now. Let's exercise together. There we go. There you are. You see them? That's it. Get up now. Get off your chair. That's it. Now bend your knees. That's it. Bend your knees. Come on now. Bend your knees. That's right. Just like them. Come on, together we can do this. That's right. Perfect. Perfect. That's it. Bend your knees. I feel you. That's right. That's the way to do it. Put your arms up now. That's right. Put your arms. Just stretch them out. That's right. Come on now. You're not ignoring us. Let's do this together. Come on. None of this sedentary lifestyle. We've got to just stretch our arms. That's it. That's right. Whew. That's it. Perspire just a little bit. Come on now. That's right. No one can see you. You're by yourself, are you? Or you with others? It doesn't matter. Together we can exercise for good health. That's right. Oh, you see them, they're big and they're small. They're short and they're tall. They're wide and they're thin. They come together in common aim and common purpose. That's right. There you are. They're smiling. They're smiling. Okay, that's it. That's right. Ooh, that's it. Ooh, I can feel it. That's right. Just for a few minutes. That's right. Lift your knees now. Lift your knees. That's right. Come on now. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. That's it. Come on. That's right. Cool. Another 30 seconds now. Another 30 seconds. That's what we need to do. Come on now. Oh, that's it. That's it. As if you're praying and bend your knees. It will help you. It will help you. See, they've got their children there. Teaching them good habits from their young. And they're taking it into their adulthood. Women from different backgrounds, different faiths, come together in common aim and common purpose. There you are. Perfect, perfect. Bend your knees. That's right. And together we will transform the world. That's it. Up and down, up and down. That's right. They're demonstrating what can be done. And together, you will transform your health. You take care of your health, of course, will take care of you. Impact your physical health. Impact your mental health. Impact your spiritual health. You impact those immediately around you. Because your attitude is now changed. You're taking care of yourself. Understand the burdens. We understand the burdens. But together we can transform the world. There you are. You are a change maker. Taking care of yourself helps others as well. See them. They've come together in common aim and common purpose. Exercise together. Pool their resources. If you're not doing this already, we urge you to do so. Okay, I'll stop that there now. I think that's enough. But I think that key message is be received by you all. If you exercise regularly, it's good for you. If you feel unable to exercise by yourself, either join a gym or speak to others around you, either in your family, in your network, and say, why do we exercise together? Because clearly we are social creatures as human beings. To exercise together is transformative. Okay? Then we think about what we put into our bodies, what we eat is most critical. And we urge you to think about what you eat. Stephen Sadi of the Moundina Foundation, we're getting back here again. We talk about the diet, our diet, and what we should ideally be eating. If you see the podcast, please go to that podcast. It is truly an inspirational experience. And I know you would all agree with me. What you've just seen are people come together in common aim and common purpose. Working together, you can transform your health and well-being, and indeed, therefore, your family's health and well-being, your networks, health and well-being, your friends' networks, health and well-being. Look, if you live in London, even in South London, or want to visit that particular group who I've got a particular affection for, their dedication to the cause, the penniless, for their resources, and now exercise regularly, and their numbers are growing and growing. So I've got a soft spot for them. I admit, yeah, I've got a soft spot for them. So I'm going to give a promotion for them. Why not? Yeah, because they're demonstrating, translating words into action. This is demonstrated there on the screen for you. Here we are. If you're here in South London, okay, and you're around on Monday or Wednesday evening, why not visit? They call themselves now the Countdown Health and Wellbeing Club. They meet from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And the address is 12 Tatum Street, Tatum Street, in Walworth in London, WALWORTH, postcode SE171TN. And their email address to reach out to them is countdown0405@gmail.com. You can reach out if you're in the UK. Telephone number 07960 803 588. I commend the work of Countdown and similar organizations across Britain, Europe, the Caribbean, Africa, and of course the Americas. Well done. In unity is strength. That's the way forward. You can exercise by yourself and you can do it very fast. That's all well and good. But if you exercise together, and you do it together, you go far and it's sustainable over a period of time. Because after a period, you get a little tired. But you do it with others, they will pick you up, hold your hand, and help you through those rough patches. That's why we say, in unity is strength. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that makes sense. Thank you. I want to just make two further quick announcements. Then we'll move to the main theme for today's show, which will be in approximately 8 minutes. Two quick announcements, maybe 3, but 2 initially. The first one is a little sensitive, but it's important to keep discussing this one. I want to compliment the former Mayor of Southwark here in London. Her name is Councillor Naima Ali. She is an FGM survivor. FGM stands for Female Genital Mutilation Survivor. She is a survivor. And I've met women who have been mutilated, who continue to this day to suffer physical and psychological scars. FGM is a practice which supposedly have purification or other purposes. But yet, if men fully understood, particularly when it happens when a girl or woman, a girl who is conscious of her own personal parts, the physical and psychological trauma FGM causes to a woman, to a girl, we men would not permit this activity. will be dead against it. Dead against it. I've spoken to women for whom this practice, who survived the experience, and I'm shocked that it still continues. So I want to give praise to Councillor Naima Ali, former Mayor of Southwark here in London, founder of Unshackled Duma. Unshackled Duma is a Southwark-based organisation that empowers women and girls, particularly from Black, Asian, and so-called minority ethnic communities and Muslim communities. The organisation focuses on promoting self-empowerment, autonomy, and strong emphasis on combating female genital mutilation. It raises awareness about FGM's harmful impacts, support survivors, and work towards eradicating the practice. I know for some this is an uncomfortable announcement, I get that, but it's an announcement nevertheless. It's a practice that pervades the African communities across West Africa and parts of East Africa. It still exists, and parts of Asia, India, and so on. It still exists. I'm assuring you, men, I'm speaking to the men, if you ask a woman who had this happen to her while she was conscious, and she's able to speak to you frankly, uninhibited, I'm assuring you, I assure you, you would not want this practice to happen on a woman that you are either intimate with, or is your sister, or is someone you respect. You would not wish it to happen to them. And I urge us all to eradicate FGM from the communities. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Sorry, I've spoken to quite a number of women for whom it has happened to. And I'm assuring you, you would not want it to happen to yourself. You would not want it to happen to yourself. All righty, let me move quickly. The next quick announcement I want to make is quite an important one. I know many of you will understand. You, of course, will recognize that these transmissions, and I am a member of that historical African diaspora. I have an English name. My first language is English. That's the result of that historic African diaspora. Mm-hmm. The dispersal of Africans hundreds of years ago to work for free in the fields, in the factories, hundreds of years ago. The impact of that history is still impacting societies today. The wealth created by a few is still being enjoyed by them today. Here in Britain, very recently, a very famous celebrity, Lenny Henry, made it clear that Britain needs to pay trillions of pounds in compensation for the death, murder, unwaged people. That was the basis of the wealth that Britain still enjoys today. Well done, Lenny Henry. I hope to get him here on the Motivator Show. It is truly a part of British history that we must discuss. Okay. But the impact, of course, is that there are hundreds of millions of Africans, more than 250 million of us across the Western world. Okay. Many, like myself, unless we go to an incredible website called Ancestry, Africanancestry.com, and have our genes profiled, would not know where in Africa we emanate from, we have the strongest connection with as a result of our genetic profiling. In my own case, it's apparently Benin, the people of Benin, and there's this particular tribe there that my genetic material links me directly to. Mm-hmm. Very spiritual people, powerful people. I've yet to visit Benin. I know that it's going to be a truly an emotional experience. Can you imagine being disconnected from your roots for not 1 or 2 generations, but more than 10 generations? Then refinding your roots and meeting people for whom you have a direct spiritual connection. Can you imagine? Oh, when I make that trip, whew, I think it'll be something else. I tell you, I'm laughing now, but my dear. Anyway, so I want to give promotion to a previous guest of mine, Belenke, who promoted the idea of the Pan-African Treaty of the 6th region. Put it on the screen. So the Pan-African Treaty of the 6th region, African diaspora, is a treaty intended to bring the diasporan under a single recognition in relation to the African Union. It will give us a seat around the table by rights. I urge particular diasporan Africans to reach out and obtain a copy of the treaty, study it, and I urge you to sign up to it. The email address to obtain a copy, so you can sign up to it, is the Pan-African Treaty, the African Diaspora, without the A at the end, at gmail.com. It's on the screen. Pan-African Treaty, African Diaspora, at gmail.com to obtain a copy of the treaty. I urge you not to simply hear my voice, but to respond to what you see on the screen. Because together we can transform the world. Healing, this is reparations in action. Healing, this is healing. Healing. And the last announcement I wish to make before the main interview, as you can see, each of these announcements have been important social impacts. That's the purpose of the Motivator Show. Here in Britain, and those of us from the part of the British Commonwealth, latter-day Empire, many hundreds of thousands of people who were invited to come to Britain in the 50s and 60s to fill those vacancies, because there was not enough people in Britain to fill those vacancies, came to Britain mainly as British citizens, because under the 1948 British Nationality Act, they were born British by virtue of being part of the British Commonwealth. Came to Britain and worked hard, graft, as the current Prime Minister of Britain would say. They grafted, worked hard, paid their taxes, are now entitled, many of them, to their retirement, as Pamela would attest, of the Caribbean Social Forum would attest. But yet, there are hundreds of thousands of them that were dispossessed of their alienable right as British citizens. It's called here the Windrush Scandal. Those of you who are affected by the Windrush Scandal, I wish to encourage you to reach out and seek legal advice. Okay? Here you go. You recall we had these legal beagles here on the Motivator Show. The Windrush Legal Advice Clinic is based at 58 Bank Street in West Midlands, postcode WV148PD, email address info@legaladviceclinic.com. I say again, info@legaladviceclinic.com is the email. Telephone number 01902 382 542. If you're overseas, you remove the zeros, +44. We encourage you to reach out and secure your right. The Prime Minister has said repeatedly, you are a British citizen. We just need to formally recognise that fact. Okay. If in doubt, ask questions. I say again, if in doubt, ask questions. Do not suffer in silence. But you recall a more recent guest, Anthony Brown. Of course, one of the shortcuts we can take Yes, you can make slight modifications to current legislation. That's true. But what we really need is a Windrush Act. Okay, we put it on the screen. Anthony Brown and tens of thousands of others are calling for a Windrush Act to enshrine in law the inalienable rights of those who were born British and then subsequently by Parliament denied their Britishness, and therefore all that comes with that. So we're calling for a Windrush Act because actions speak louder than words. The time for action is now. We need to translate our words into action. Contact WD Legal. Website address is wdlegal.co.uk during the campaign to secure the Windrush Act. Together, we'll make the difference. Okay, that's how you can contact Anthony Brown. Supporting the Windrush pioneers and their descendants, so-called, I say, Windrush pioneers. Okay. Well done, Anthony. We're getting back in the studio. We've got new Home Secretary, new everybody, and they're still talking positively. We want to monitor to progression to secure the rights of those affected by the heinous acts of Parliament. Well done, well done, well done. All righty. Now it's time for the main theme for today's show. And today's show returns to Nigeria, a country with incredible economic and social impact now and into the future. It's made up of many nations. Some people call them tribe. Call them by their correct term. Many nations. Mr. Lugard, who under the auspices of the British Crown created Nigeria. Yeah. Nigeria is not an African creation. Nigeria, I say again, is not an African creation. I say that repeatedly for emphasis. I need you all to remember that. Nigeria is not an African creation. It's not an African name. It was given to that country by Britain. I want you to absorb that, because that identity, Nigerians, of course, want to hang on to. Yeah? But for Nigeria to grow, become the superpower that we can all predict, Nigeria, with the current boundaries, I suspect, will need to be modified. Will be modified. Because in unity is strength, and the Sahel nations are leading the way. Give praise to Captain President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Yeah, let's give praise to them. Leading the way. Imagine if all the countries of West Africa were to find economic and social union. Can you imagine the potential of such a union? We've become greater than your individual nations, the individual parts. Can you imagine? So this interview, which I'm going to play, will be thought-provoking. It's only the first part of the interview. The entire podcast, the series, will be available within 24 hours by tomorrow, within 24 hours of today. Entire series. It's jam-packed full of information, inspiring information, empowering information. I want to honor and respect the Biafran indigenous organizations plural. It becomes clearer in the interview why I say that. Okay? We've honored and respected the Yoruba people of Nigeria. We now honor and respect the Igbo people of Nigeria and their great nation. Because in unity is strength. Watch this interview. This is the first part of the interview. I want you to watch this keenly, to have the leadership here in the Motivated Show studios was truly an honor. What I want you to do is to watch this interview with an open mind. Because I know in Nigeria there's certain sensitivities, and I get that. I completely get that. But we cannot shy away just because of those sensitivities. We cannot shy away from that. Watch keenly, but the entire interview, a series of podcasts, will be available within 24 hours. But this is a respectful interview, highly sensitive, but one that addresses fundamental issues to do with Nigeria, its future, and the future of West Africa, and indeed the continent of Africa, and therefore Africans globally. So therefore the diasporans have an interest in this as well. Please be. Listen and watch keenly. Who are the Igbo people? They are a nation within a nation, proud, intelligent, unbreakable. From the green hills and red earth of southeastern Nigeria, the Igbo have carried their spirit across the world, a spirit that bends but never breaks. Centuries ago, many were torn from their homeland during the transatlantic slave trade. Yet even in the Caribbean and the Americas, their descendants kept the rhythm of resilience alive. At home they resisted colonial domination, and built communities rooted in democracy, learning, and enterprise. Then came Biafra, 1967 to 1970, a war that scarred both land and soul. Over 2 million lives were lost, promises made but never kept. No victor, no vanquish, they were told. Yet the Igbo homeland was left broken and forgotten. Still, they rose again. Traders, engineers, doctors and artists, rebuilding from nothing. But the old wounds remained. A nation that never fully welcomed them back. A system that denied them their fair power and equality of opportunities. From the pain came a new voice, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, founded by Nnamdi Kanu in 2012. IPOB became more than a movement. It became a call for dignity, for self-determination, for justice long denied. Its rising sun flag speaks of a people who refuse to be erased. Across the world, the Igbo stand tall, in London, in Houston, in Lagos, and beyond, proving no chain, no war, no silence can crush a free spirit. The Igbo story is not just about survival. It's about rebirth. It's about a people who, despite everything, keep rising like the sun. They carry in their hearts the Igbo spirit like the rising sun. Oh. Biafra forever, the Igbo rise again.
Oh,
yes! Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Press the like button and don't forget to leave a comment. IPOB, the Indigenous People of Biafra, UK leadership on The Motivator Show. This is The Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. And we have here a representative from that great country of Nigeria. Remember, people, I say that we must pay close attention to what's happening in Nigeria. Never forget, the largest economy, the economy with, notwithstanding our comrades, our brothers and sisters and elders from South Africa and Ethiopia, of course. Nigeria, of course, is a country which has the greatest potential for economic growth by all independent analysis. It is a country with a people that is outstanding and of a real international impact, both in the United States of America. You see many Africans from the continent who are Nigerians are actually Igbos from Biafra, in remarkable trading people with a mentality that we recognize in my homeland of Jamaica. Because there are quite a few there, I can tell you, okay? We have the same blood. So I'm really proud that today we have the chairman of the UK IBOP, and I'm going to ask him to describe the name, the details for us today. So, sir, first of all, good to see you again, and you're as young as ever, if I may say so, huh?
Yeah.
That blood, the blood, I keep saying it's the blood, the blood. Can I ask you,
Yeah.
please, to introduce yourself, say your name, organization, please, first of all. Just get that started. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, The Motivator. It's indeed a pleasure to be back on your show. And I appreciate, first and foremost, the wonderful job you're doing to de-brainwash our people
Oh, yes.
and educate us in the right manner and way. My name's Chief Ikechukwu Nice Nwokoro. I'm a traditional chief by the title Nwachinemere. I serve the great people of Biafra, as you mentioned, as the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, United Kingdom National Coordinator. We don't use the title chairman. We use national coordinator because we are basically and essentially serving our people, not lording it over them, but providing valuable and also voluntary free services to our nation and our great people of Biafra. Thank you very much, and a very good morning to your wonderful listeners who are listening to us today. I hope at the end of this interaction, we will take home one or two vital points and lessons regarding where we come from.
Thank you. This is very important, and the interaction is important. And one of the notes I have to make, because I'm primarily an English speaker, which is why I had you pronounce your name fluently.
Yeah, yes.
You understand? But I'm also very conscious that names have meaning. Share with my audience the meaning of your name, sir. Please explain.
You are absolutely correct. Names, particularly Biafra names, have meanings that are not just physical but spiritual, because we are highly spiritual people.
Yes.
I will talk in the course of explaining who a Biafran is, who we are truly. And our names derive from our ancestry, our originality, our identity. My proper name, African name, is Ikechukwu, which translates in English language to the power of God. Capital P, power of God. Some people mistakenly think is God's power. No, they're two different things. The power of God is different, mightier, greater than God's power.
Oh, I'm now.
And then my last name, I don't need to explain nice. I think that's just a name my mom gave me to make it easier for people like you and others. But my last name, Nwokoro, is, again, translated literally in English, simply means one word, young.
Yes.
You can put that as a young man, a young person, but in the traditional sense, it means forever young.
Forever young.
So when you said in your intro, looking forever young, I just said, well, we just said my surname, Mokoro, and that is what Mokoro means in Biafra.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. What a powerful intro. What a powerful intro. And can I, again, just for the benefit of my audience who are primarily people of the diaspora, okay, IBOP. Can you just describe the meaning of IBOP? I think you started to describe it, but it's indigenous.
Yes, I did when I was introducing myself anyway.
Yeah.
And also, I humbly wish to, sir, correct you.
Okay.
I know it's what people colloquially or commonly describe us as IPOP.
Oh,
We are not
yes.
IPOP. We are
Oh,
IPOB.
yeah. Ah,
It's an
so,
acronym without
yes.
punctuations. There's no full stop in it. It
I
is one
understand.
word, but it is pronounced IPOB, not
Mm-hmm.
IPOP. And some of
Yeah.
our detractors, which I'm very 100% sure you're not one of them,
No.
and those who want to pull us down, go with that word IPOB, and they have adulterated forms of
Yes.
it, making mockery of it, like you have iPad,
Yes.
iPod, and stuff like
Yes.
that. We are not a device. We are
Mm-hmm.
not a Microsoft engineered commodity or product. We are
Mm-hmm.
ancient people, indigenous people with a great heritage and an identity, and we are IPOB, not IPOB. IPOB
IBOP.
means,
Yes, please.
yes, IPOB in full means indigenous people of Biafra.
Thank you. Thank you. We're learning and we're acquiring this knowledge from you. Thank
Yeah,
you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And that's a really interesting point. IBOP, of
that's
course.
correct, sir. Thank you so
Um,
much. Yes,
no, absolutely. And of course, you use the term peoples. So you are many people that share that identity. That's correct?
absolutely.
How many peoples share that identity in that part of the country we call Nigeria?
As at 2021, statistically, because we haven't been allowed to conduct our own independent, impartial
Yes.
census, but as
Mm-hmm.
at 2021, the statistics of population of Biafrans worldwide
Mm-hmm.
stand as 70 million plus.
Gosh,
And that
that's it.
includes Biafrans that are domiciled in the current enclave or
Mm-hmm.
geographical expression called Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and those who are in diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Mm-hmm.
you can do the extrapolation from 2021 to date exponentially. We are people who grow in everything. So that
Mm-hmm.
figure would have gone up.
Yes.
Nigeria, as of today, stands an estimated population of 210
Mm-hmm.
million people.
That's right.
You can categorically say that Biafrans are at least one third,
Yes. Yes.
which is still 70 million. So
Absolutely.
I'm sure we are more than that, because even the
I,
census of Nigeria is fraud, just as every
yes.
other thing about Nigeria has always been.
Mm-hmm.
When the actual head counts are counted
Mm-hmm.
impartially, you will know that Biafrans are in the vast majority.
I suspect you're correct, and that is my experience here in London. And I suspect you're correct, but you're right. We need to be able to verify the statement. But I'm going to stand by that, and I realise that you are when you use the term Biafra, you're referring to many peoples who share that same identity, and there's a commonality.
Yes,
It is a commonality of let's say we're clear of language, culture, traditions? What's the commonality among Biafran people that enables them to share that heading of being a Biafran? Is it geographical or is it more than that geographical?
It's a bit of both or a mix
Okay.
of all, you said.
Okay.
Basically, we are a people that are connected by ancestry, by history, by geography,
Mm-hmm.
but most importantly, by culture.
It.
Our leader, Onyedumazi Nnamdi Kanu, did an exposition on Radio Biafra way back in 2019, a well-studied
Mm-hmm.
exposition
Okay.
that revealed that anybody whose mother, grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
great-grandmother,
Okay.
or auntie, niece, or whatever of old
Mm-hmm.
tied or still ties a
Mm-hmm.
two-piece wrapper. I don't know whether you know traditional
I
African
do.
wear two-piece wrapper.
Explain,
Well,
please.
two-piece
Explain.
wrapper is like a skirt made in the traditional way, but
Okay.
it's two-piece. So
Okay.
anybody whose mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, sister,
Mm-hmm.
auntie, any female that is
Mm-hmm.
cultural and traditional,
Right.
when they dress up elegantly, their
Yes.
traditional attire
Uh-huh.
consists of a blouse, which is like a shirt for women or ladies,
Mm-hmm.
and a
Mm-hmm.
two-piece wrapper.
Right.
Know it that you are a Biafran.
Oh wow. Now then, I'm
And
going to have to put it on the
if you
screen.
go to
Yeah.
Nigeria today, I can tell you, you will
Yes.
still see people who consciously and even unconsciously
Yes.
dress in two-piece wrapper. Some
Two-piece
of
wrap.
them, unfortunately, because they've been politically emasculated, deny
Mm-hmm.
Biafra identity. But without
Mm-hmm.
knowing it, they are displaying Biafra DNA, the Biafra culture, Biafra heritage, Biafra
Uh-huh.
ancestry, and
Uh-huh.
originality. So Biafra, as I'm going to explain a little bit, is
Mm.
actually it should be peoples, not just people.
Yes. Aha. That's what I thought. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be peoples because
Uh-huh.
we are not just one ethnic
Indeed.
nationality
Indeed.
or identity, but rather a
Indeed.
confederation of ethnic nationalities.
That's right.
Within, you can find out geographically on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, on the
Mm-hmm.
West African coast, which
Mm-hmm.
is present day Nigeria, spanning all the way into the mainland or the inland
Right.
of
Uh-huh.
that coast, from
Yes.
what originally was known as Bight of Biafra. Bight of Biafra is in present day what you call River State and Bayelsa State. Nigeria currently has 6 geopolitical zones because we have deviated from the regional structure to now geopolitical structure. And these 2 states I mentioned are in the current what they call South-South, which is a nullity in itself because geographically there's nothing called South-South.
Also.
So, but that's what Nigeria prefers to call it.
Right.
South-South geopolitical zone
Mm-hmm.
comprising states like Rivers, Cross Rivers, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, Edo, Delta, these 6 states. And I
Right.
can tell you all these 6 states have Biafrans in vast majority, if not in the entirety of the population. Then you
Mm-hmm.
add that to the mainland, which is the southeast, which is what Nigeria is trying to confine Biafra to
Yes.
reduce us, to compress us into a tiny, the former president,
Area.
the late Buhari, called us a dot,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Wow. A
So
third
that's
of
what they're
people
trying
is a
to
dot.
compress us into a dot, but we are larger
Yes.
than dot.
Absolutely.
We are not just a big circle, we are a universal cycle. So you will find Biafrans, geographically, I'm trying to answer your question, in the south-south geopolitical zone, in the southeast, predominantly 100%
Mm-hmm.
geopolitical zone, and also as minorities in the north-central and the
Yes.
southwest.
Understood.
But the
Thank you.
commonality there,
Yes.
in terms
Uh-huh.
of identity, is the
Yes.
fact that your mother, grandmother, great grandmother, and your forebears, female, and even the present, tied or still tied two-piece wrapper. And that is the best dress they can appear in. When they come out in that dress, you love a woman. I tell you, the motivator. Yes.
Thank you. This
So
is truly
that
an
is it.
education.
And maybe you just flow from there. Also talking about the historical account of the origin of Biafra.
Yes.
It's multifaceted theories. Some of them you can find if you Google, you find a lot of things, but we know that I'm also technology based, that computer, Google, the internet, it's all Gigo, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you put in there is what you get out.
Yes.
Even with AI now, someone still has to program it, give all the codes, and direct what happens eventually. And so that person is the manipulator, not the motivator. They manipulate.
Yes.
They manipulate the outcome of what we see. So if you go on Google, you see hear all manner of things. But we rely mostly on the most incontrovertible historical account, which is oral tradition. What is handed down from generation to generation, to present. And luckily, we have intelligent, smart people who continue to inscribe all this historical origin, and we have them till date. When Biafra comes, we will launch them. You will see that the origin of civilization started with us. So you will see on the internet different theories about who a Biafran is or what is Biafra. But everybody, all of them agrees on one thing, that Biafrans are among the oldest indigenous people, if not the oldest indigenous people in the whole of West Africa.
Nnamdi Kanu says,
prove it. Only Chukwokika Biama can create a nation, not man. That is why no decent country in the world was created by anybody. They evolved organically through war and through convergence or coalescing of value system, culture, and ideas. As simple as ABC. We are learned here, and we prove it.
That Biafrans are among the oldest indigenous people, if not the oldest indigenous people in the whole of West Africa, who lived in the Benue River valleys and the Niger Delta regions of the Atlantic coast, as I said earlier on, up to the inland, from as far back as 800 BC.
800 BC.
That is over 7,000 years today.
Yes.
So this is more than 5,000 or about 5,000 years before Christ. Even the history.
If I may, sir, I'm very interested in this, and I would ask you after you sent some reference links to me, and I will gladly do some further research in this, and we need to pursue this further. I'm discovering that there are a number of people right across West Africa and go down part of Central Africa who seem to have this common thread of information, which we need to analyze. I want to analyze that. And
absolutely. I'm saying to you also, to our listeners, in fact, to everybody, particularly people of African heritage, to do their personal research about this.
Absolutely.
What I'm going to say regarding Biafrans and other people, our brothers and sisters in the whole continent of Africa. But as you know, history is consistently distorted, rewritten in the form of revisionism in Africa. Then in Nigeria, the founders and funders of Nigeria are very vociferous about wiping out history entirely. You and I know that Nigerian history has officially been removed as a subject from the entire Nigeria education curriculum since the 1990s something.
Astonishing, isn't it? Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing.
Despite all the clamors for it to be reintroduced, I was a science student growing up as a young man in Nigeria then, in present-day Delta State. We studied history. I was very good at it. I loved history. I loved geography, despite the fact that I'm into the sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and the rest. But I was among the few students who pleaded, or rather insisted, that I do a combine, what is now known as combine. I had some arts and science combined to my, to my portfolio, and I had distinction in all of them. So how they will remove history over a decade now, going to 2 decades, and we've been pleading for it to be returned, and they refuse. It's a systematic, well-calculated attempt to emasculate our people intellectually and completely disconnect us from our identity and originality.
Nnamdi Kanu says,
You know what it takes to build a skyscraper, to build an 80-story building? Do you know what it takes? You know that in this world, as some people are building 80-story, some are building mud houses. Are you aware of that? No, you don't know, but I'm telling you, as people are racking their brains, those that read architecture, thinking, how do we build, the tallest building in the world? There are some people struggling to build a mud house. Do you know the difference between these two people? Is their brain, the content of the white matter in their skull. The way it computes is what is the difference.
That's why
I'm going to pause there on that particular point, but it's an important point which I am going to return to, maybe not in this interview, but at a future date. But of course, Africa, one of the legacies of Africa at the moment is, of course, colonialism and the impact of colonialism on today's Africa. This is the legacy of colonialism. Africa is the most diverse, ethnically, linguistically, continent in the world. It is a place of rich diversity, and there is a move towards trying to create a African superstate of a single ethnicity, which is crazy. We need to have mutual respect for all peoples of the continent. But that's why I'm going to come back to that. I want to focus now, if I may. In fact, I want to focus now on yourself as the IBOP. Okay, I'm going to say that now. Okay. Please, sir, I'm going to ask you to just elaborate for us the vision of IBOP. What is your vision? What do you want to achieve?
Okay, well, maybe I was going to say a few things about also this origin, but I'll come back to it maybe in the course of defining our vision and mission. The vision of IPOB is simply to restore the sovereign nation of Biafra, which we call God's kingdom on earth, through, well, that's now diving into the mission, a peaceful democratic means of referendum.
Okay. Now, I don't want you to preempt my questions now, so I don't want you to. I want you to focus on the vision. On the vision. So you want to restore the state of Biafra, but I think you describe it as really a confederation of states.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Okay. And you've begun to outline the boundaries. Okay. Okay. And at which point, if we go back prior to European intrusion into the continent, at which point could you say is a point at which the boundaries were defined and acknowledged by the Biafran peoples?
Clearly, historically, we all know that Nigeria came into existence in the rogue amalgamation of 1914, when Frederick Lugard, who was the Queen's representative on the west coast of Africa, was mandated to do a criminal expedition of exploring the possibility of joining the whole lump of different nationalities as one in the scramble for Africa, basically African resources. We know what the Europeans did, Berlin Conference and the rest of them. Everybody partitioned Africa and was auctioning Africa, so everybody was grabbing its own. Britain, in their greed, wanted to bring all the nationalities down south, joining with the ones in the north, to form what they call Nigeria. And that amalgamation effectively was it was an unholy marriage, which was consummated in 1914. But before then, in the late 18s, the move had already started. I said on your show the last time I was on with you that Biafra existed long before Nigeria. I just gave you the historical antecedents of over 7,000 years. And I said, our people, the ethnic nationalities of Igbo, Ijo, Efik, Ishakiri, Ibibio, and the rest that made up Biafra that still exists today, which they call tribe in Nigeria. They tell you Nigeria has more than 250 tribes. What they call tribes is not enough tribes. Majority of them are nations.
Oh, okay.
Ancient
Say it again.
nations.
Say that again. These are important
What
points
they
you're
call
making.
tribe, they tell you Nigeria has many tribes. They tell them to write the story, they won't. They just wave it. But I'm saying, and I'm saying it categorically, unequivocally on your show, that what they call tribe are nations, authentic nations of Africa that we have forcefully, criminally merged together as a business enterprise. Don't forget, what you call Nigeria, that started as a Royal Niger Company. It's a company, like you register a company and the company's house in the UK.
Correct. Yes, that's right. That's right.
And then renamed into Nigeria, a mockery of a name suggested by Frederick Lugar's girlfriend or side
That's
chick.
right. Yeah,
Flora Shaw.
I think she became his wife, didn't she not? I think she became his wife.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm just saying the one I know. Yeah. So my father did tell me that she was a wife. I was told she was a girlfriend. And there's no proof. I haven't seen any marriage certificate or anything to confirm that she was a wife. So what I'm saying in essence is that this is an unholy marriage consummated in an unsacred bed or bedroom that gave birth to Nigeria. Before then, these nationalities or nations were in existence. And I told you also that the bite of Biafra was there. I have been into the British Museum in London and other places, and there are evidence of today of the existence of Biafra way back in the 1300s that is in the museum. You can check it out.
I agree. Let me ask you this point, and I just want to be clear. I've had to study, of course, you call him Lord, I'm not going to give him that title, Mr. Lugard's ability to gain the confidence of the leaders of the Hausa people, the Yoruba people, and of course the Igbo people. Okay.
Yeah.
So for them to sign the original treaty that brought Nigeria in as a state, an independent state. Okay. Now, and I'm interested in that the Igbo people and a single leader. Okay. Is there even today a unofficial or indeed official single leader for the Igbo people?
In my Igbo nation, there's a common adage that says Igbo enweze, meaning literally Igbos have no king. We don't bow to a king.
Okay.
That doesn't mean we don't have a leader or we don't understand leadership or hierarchy or structure, but because we are originally Republicans, okay, we have a decentralized leadership structure. And I think, as you said, Lugard and the cohorts capitalized on it to do what I call the fraud, because the amalgamation part of treaty you mentioned was signed purportedly. Don't forget, it was written in English. None of those traditional rulers in 1914 understood a word of English, but they signed, apparently on behalf of the whole lot of us and the generations to come.
Yes.
By six of them, now you can count them on my fingers, the traditional rulers from what they call the Southern Protectorate, which comprised of Biafra and the Oduduwas or the Yorubas you mentioned, as the majority nationality in that area, and the Northern Protectorate, which is the Hausas and all the Nupes, the other ethnic nationalities in the north.
Yes.
But as this was going on, the Fulanese, who today control Nigeria, who are less than 5% of the population, were conducting their jihad all the way from north, from the Sahel, Niger, Chad, and the rest, coming down, killing and massacring people up north, which they are still doing today, to conquer their land up north. So they had a deal with Lugard's army, the British army, to say, okay, let's stop. We will come together. We will manage it. I will be the chief executive. You will be the manager. Note this point.
Yes.
So back then, as at 1914, 6 people were handpicked as paramount, or I call them paramount rulers.
Indeed.
The Obong of Calabar and people like that. There was no proper traditional leader of Igbo that was there, that was chosen by the people. To answer your question, direct.
Thank you.
However,
clear.
However, providence or natural wisdom instructed them to agree, because this, don't forget I said Nigeria started as a company, Royal Niger Company, to agree that this deal, like a lease, will have an expiry date. So it was signed in there too that this experiment, this nonsensical unholy marriage, will last for 100 years.
100 years. Is that written down anywhere?
It was in the treaty. Yeah, go on again, do your research. It was in the amalgamation treaty. And that is where IPOB came on board. I'm going to link it. So as we continued, it became worse and worse by the day, week, month, year, decade. And after 100 years, which was 2014.
2014. Aha.
Nigeria officially.
That's why it's so important.
Yes, Nigeria officially expired. Remember, I said on your show here that you said it was the first time of hearing it, that Nigeria is dead. Because the treaty that gave birth to it said clearly your lifespan is 100 years. And without a resuscitation, without a new revibration, you cannot exist. And there hasn't been any.
Right.
And there hasn't been any today. So technically, biologically, naturally, spiritually, Nigeria died in 2014. So what we have as Nigeria today is a contraption that is undergoing a very protracted funeral service by some rogue administrators who you call Nigerian political leaders, including the president.
Which includes the president. And actually, just to pause there, because the point has been well made now, and I will provide additional information to help the audience to appreciate the descriptions that you have provided, and it's really important. So we talked about the vision to reinstate a Biafra, and therefore the mission, of course, the tactic that you will use. I want to focus on that aspect, if I may now, please, because that will help us to move forward in terms of understanding Nandikado and of course your leaders. So I just want to now just focus on the mission, how you wish to reinstate the state of Biafra. So just tell us the strategy.
Yes, IPOB mission is to, as I said in the trying to define the vision, is to peacefully, through a democratic means of referendum, delegitimize the political, mere geographical expression. That's what Nigeria's leaders describe Nigeria as, a mere political, geographical expression, or Nigeria, through the sensitization of both Biafrans and people of the world about the illegality the British contraption has held indigenous peoples of not just Biafra, but the rest of that map to ransom. We will do this through education, awareness, enlightenment, diplomatic missions and offensive, and continuous re-education, which we do through our media, the conventional media, Radio Biafra, Biafra television, and also social media that we are very, very active and alive on. So we have been on this campaign, and it has put Nigeria on the spot. The leaders have been jittery because they know that we have all the facts, we have all the evidence. And all we are doing is to say, please, the world, we are no longer going to go to 1967 when a war was brought on our people and genocide of indescribable proportion was committed and the world turned a blind eye to it, we are not going to go back to that. Thank God for technology. Thank God for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We are going to do it in a peaceful way, like many other European countries have been able to do to regain their freedom or independence. Like even some other countries in Africa, South Sudan, Eritrea, and a few have done recently. So we are able to do it. What we've been saying is that we've been very patient. We have lost a lot, human capital, natural resources in the quest for freedom. For the 100 years the amalgamation treaty allowed. We tried to do it our own way in 67 to 70. We lost over 6 million people in a genocide. But we are not going to go through that again. So that's what IPOB has been doing, using these mediums of education, enlightenment, awareness to let people know that it's high time we took control of our own destiny. And it's also high time that our people are allowed to realize their full potentials, not just for our own good, but for the good of our neighbors and the whole wide world.
Nnamdi Kanu says,
principal critical work that should have been done with the freedom fighting was not done. And what is that? Education. What we are here for. We are here to get Biafra, yes. But I don't want Biafra of idiots. Azikiwe fought for independence. Jomo Kenyatta fought for independence. Kwame Nkrumah fought for independence. Arap Moi fought for independence. Nyerere fought for independence. Even right now, remember, I don't want to talk about Eduardo dos Santos of Angola. That's different. I want to talk about Nelson Mandela. He fought for independence. Are you telling me that South Africa you have today was what Mandela fought for? Are you telling me that Mandela died that black people will be hunting down other black people to kill? The answer is no.
Different diplomatic mission. IPOB has spent a lot and continue to spend a lot. I'm not allowed to say certain things on air in terms of in the redeployment of resources towards lobbying, engaging the international community the right way. And that includes the United Nations, the European Union, the government of the United States of America, the government of this country as well. Because we know and appreciate that we need to have an understanding with the British government. They are the midwife that gave birth to Nigeria. And somehow we need to have some understanding with them. We are not averse
of the responses.
to negotiation.
Give us some idea of the responses you're receiving from these other nations and international agencies. How are they responding to your claim for independence and recognition of your independence?
The responses have been in trickles, if I'm very honest. But I must also admit that over time, particularly since our leader, Oyendumasi Nnamdi Kanu, was kidnapped in Kenya, an extraordinary rendition to Nigeria, and has remained in illegal incarceration. We'll talk about it. It's just been in court today for 4 years now and 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Can I
we have started receiving better. Sorry, let me finish. We have started receiving better ears, if you like, from the international community, because now the awareness is greater. The world can no longer play the ostrich or pretend they don't know what is happening. And thanks to good people like you who always amplify what we also do on Radio Biafra and our own media, because it's not only IPOB or Biafra media outlets that can propagate our stories. We need the cooperation of everybody.
Yes.
Like minds, lovers of freedom, people like you, and even the wider community, including the British people. So we've been doing that. Those are opening, I must say. I'm not allowed again to give details. Those are opening. We've engaged the one you can see in the media. Many U.S. senators recently have called for Nigeria to be redesignated as a country of particular concern. It was before in the first presidency of President Donald Trump. Then Joe Biden came in, the Democrats doing what they do. I'm not here to talk about American politics, but
let's not do that.
Yeah, so Joe Biden removed Nigeria from the list. and they started selling arms to them to kill Biafrans once again. But thankfully, a lot of senators in the US Senate have started speaking. It's in the news this week. Again, we spent a lot of resources, 2022-23, engaging the British Parliament, both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and we are still doing that. We have very good people here in Britain who have done, well, you're going to ask me later on what we have done the last 1 year.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll reserve that.
My questions. Yeah.
I'll reserve that.
There's not too many out my question, but this is very useful. Can I just probe a little further on the treaty that expired in 2014? Okay. Clearly, an international treaty that expired would be recognized by United Nations as expired.
You would have thought so.
Yes, I would have thought so. So, just give us these circumstances, because you would have appealed to the United Nations for that recognition. Britain and others, of course, will either acknowledge or not that is indeed the case. Tell us, clarify what is the situation.
We have also written them. IPOB, we have written them formally, notifying of that. We also include that piece of information in all our bundles that accompany our diplomatic missions. So they know about it, as I said. The undersecretaries in the United Nations know about it. Even the Secretary General must know about it. But as I said, the high-level policies orchestrated by Britain and with the support of the US and some other Western powers or the NATO alliance, we sometimes override our own little effort in that regard. But we continue to appeal to the conscience of people of goodwill, lovers of freedom, to examine our core, to go through the documents we have presented, to check the authenticity, and then re-examine their conscience to say, are we asking for too much? Everyone knows Nigeria has expired, but they are making a lot of deal out of it. It's a business empire. It's a business center, for crying out loud, where people come in and shop and take whatever they like for free. Britain and their allies take a lot of Nigeria, they call it, but it's Biafra, oil and gas, free. Since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, you and I know that they don't get any good deal again, especially for natural gas from Russia. So where is the next alternative? Surely it's not Middle East, because they're going to pay big top dollar. So there is a cheap source somewhere, which unfortunately my father's backyard is one of them. So Nigeria is trading horses with them to keep the dead horse going, keep rubbing, massaging the dead horse and giving it a CPR, hoping that it will come to life, back to life someday. But everybody in Downing Street knows, the Queen that died knew, King Charles knows, everybody knows that Nigeria is dead. And the peoples of Nigeria have a right since 2014 to decide whether to stay together or go separate ways. And that's what we've been asking for. Peacefully, amicably, we don't want wars. This can be done on a table. Gentleman discussion, and we shake hands.
Yes, so the mission is clear, using peaceful means for recognition for what is your legal right based upon the treaty that was signed. There's no
self-determination, yes.
There you are. That's very clear and well said. Thank you for that. Thank you. But I wanted to take
and just to add that this self-determination is included in the United Nations Charter, is in the African Union Charter, is in the Nigerian mockery of the Constitution of 1999. It's everywhere.
It is, and that's why I mentioned the United Nations being a crucial body. But I wanted to take us forward. I'm just conscious of your time, that we'll make sure we get as much in as possible. Okay. And you've mentioned Britain, but in the past 12 months, can you describe a successful activity or event put on by the IBOB in Britain?
Right. I just started by saying some of the diplomatic missions we've been undertaking. And again, the details of those because we don't like to say them before they yield results. Experience has taught us that many good things we are doing, once we becomes a subject of social media discussion, Nigeria government is tipped off. They have infiltrated us even within us, and they go and block it or truncate or frustrate it. But we
My
have been
question,
doing
of
a lot
course,
of that.
forgive me,
Yeah, the
my
ones I can
question is
share
really
with
about,
you,
yes, thank you, yes.
yeah,
What can
the
you
ones
share?
I can share with you include the letters we have written to the parliament, to the prime minister's office, the enlightenment engagement we have done with communities, including recently, may his soul rest in peace, our involvement at the funeral of foremost writer, novelist, friend of Biafra, Frederick Forsyth, who covered the genocide in 1967 to 70. IPOB
Yes,
was well represented and recognized at the funeral. We were active in participation to pay our last tribute and
yes.
respect to a great man.
Hmm.
We have
Hmm.
also hosted here in the UK what we call the European Biafra get-together. We did it in Luton, a small town, on the 5th of July this year, where IPOB leaders from all over Europe gathered to not just to discuss the trend of events and the way forward, but also to again evangelize to the British community. We use the
Hmm.
opportunity to create more awareness. So
Hmm.
we've done a lot. Most of the things we do that are internal, I don't think is what me saying on your program.
That's fine,
But
that's fine.
but every week we have schedule of activities. Every month we have a major event that we do
Hmm.
in here in the UK. I don't want to blow my own trumpet because I'm not the one to assess myself or score myself, but my humble self and my team, because I don't work
Okay,
alone, of
yes,
IPOB UK
yes,
leaders are doing crisscrossing the whole country. We've been able to establish what we call our families or zones in places where we didn't have them before, like Northern Ireland. The
right,
IPOB
okay,
had never
oh
been
good,
there. Yeah, we've been able to establish that within this time you mentioned, and
good,
we are going to do even more in Wales and the rest of Britain to ensure that our message goes round to all the 367 MPs. In the
hmm.
last 1 year, we visited them with a team in different zones to visit all the MPs, at least drop a letter or discuss with them.
Hmm.
So we are doing our level best. We
Well
do
done,
this
well done.
with a clear conscience that what we are doing is pure, peaceful, and purposeful. And
Yes.
also concerning the plight of our leader, Onyeduma Nnamdi Kanu, a British citizen for that
Well,
matter.
I don't want to. I'm going to come to in a moment. I need to get the background sorted, you see, so we can come back to your leader. So that's clear that there's a flurry of activities constantly underway here in Britain to put the case for the IPOP. Okay,
Yes.
that's the message I wanted you to communicate to the audience. Okay, so they may wish, and I'll get to it later on, in terms of giving you that additional support. But I do want to ask
I believe we've got my sound back. There you are. Very forgive me. That was an extensive interview. That was just the first part. It provided real insights to the vision, mission, aspirations, and activities of the IBOB and why it's an important organization in Nigeria and the future of Nigeria. Mutual respect is the word that the recurring theme there, but it was incredibly informative. Okay. It's a three-part series, okay, which will be available on YouTube it will be the next 24 hours. So return to the Motivator Show YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, I urge you to do so. But we most critically want you to react. Leave a comment. Your comment is what we are really interested in. Because clearly, what you've heard thus far provides an insight, an organization of peoples, indeed, a nation that is desiring to be amongst the nations of the world, a peoples, a confederation of peoples who desire to be amongst the nations of the world and work collaboratively with all the nations that currently make up Nigeria. Yes, there is daily killings going on in Nigeria, from north to the southeast. It's reported in Nigeria and reported through Nigerian channels. But it's not discussed about the immediate, medium-term and long-term impact of those killings and why they happen still today. Still today. And therefore is interfering with the social development of the country, of the nations of that country. We need to consider, therefore, what is the best solution to the current problems, which is not being reported and therefore is not impacting upon people worldwide. But if you're in Nigeria, you know what's going on, what is happening on a daily basis. And I have got extensive contacts throughout the country. And most certainly in the north, understanding the Fulani and the Hausa communities, which are generally underrepresented in social media. We aim to resolve that very soon. It is an important subject, but I hope we start that dialogue for peace and reconciliation. I want to give a thumbs up to the leadership of IBOP. A thumbs up to you. Peace. You emphasize peaceful means. Emphasize peaceful means to achieve the vision. The mission is clear. How are you going to achieve that vision is clear. Diplomatic, human interaction, raising awareness. We can only support that. Yes, there you are. The fireworks came up instantly. That wasn't my doing. Huh? Yes, absolutely. That's the way forward. I paused. I want you to hear the words. I want you to hear the words resonate in your minds, because you are the change makers. We have a collective responsibility to find peace and reconciliation, peace and mutual respect for people's culture, traditions, and religious affiliations. It is our responsibility, individual responsibility, to promote this. And not to simply dismiss people as being people over there. No, they're here. We are one. We are but one human race. Praise be. Well, that was the Motivator Show for today. The extensive podcast that relates to this interview will be available within 24 hours. Okay. I wish to encourage you to share it with your friends, with your networks worldwide, because it truly provided a real insight into what's happening in what is an incredibly dynamic country, a country that cannot fail, because we are relying upon Nigerians, what we call Nigerians, to find peace and reconciliation. A confederation, whatever format you eventually arrive at. But we're not there yet. The Motivator Show is here to raise the consciousness through considered, well-balanced information exchange, through mutual respect and love for us all. Because together we can transform the world. Again, I want to quote from King Kabbalah of the African Continental Unity Party. That is, of course, Africa's only and most dynamic Pan-Africanist party, which seeks, of course, African unity across the continent and the Caribbean. He says we should not worship idols. We should not worship personalities. What we should do is worship ourselves and take the responsibility for the changes that are inevitable. We must ensure comes to pass. I'm bound at this point to remind you of my favorite. I know I say it out loud. I know I say it loud. International journalist, again a Nigerian. And while she is not a member of the IBOB, but the other organization, NINAS, okay, her words resonate with us all. I'll put it on the screen. Oh, not this one. There we go. Here's the correct one. And here it is. Ndidi Iwechu, she says, given the state of Nigeria and indeed Africa, I think people haven't yet made the mental link that they are responsible for the kind of existence they hand over to their children. Powerful statement. Thank you, Ndidi. Thank you. Powerful statement. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Thank you, Ndidi. We look forward to her joining us here in the Motivated Show. We miss her dearly. But together, we can transform Africa. We don't need war. We did need our jaws, our intelligence, our creative abilities to find peace and reconciliation, because the prize is peace and prosperity for all. Otherwise, these podcasts will be worth less unless we take responsibility for the future. So I say unto you all, thank you for your attention today. Watch out for the podcast the next 24 hours and continue to take care of yourselves, your physical self, your mental health, indeed your spiritual health. You heard what the professor said earlier on, You heard what he said earlier on. And together we can transform ourselves, our families, our communities, and societies. You are the change makers. This podcast has become truly meaningful because we're engaging in respectful, honest discussion, because there's a goal that we all crave for: peace and prosperity. Without peace, there's very little prosperity, or be unbalanced, as you have the United States. What we can achieve a society that respects all, regardless of religion, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender, regardless of your education, but we respect all, because you are a human being. There's a great African who never visited Africa by the name of Marcus Garvey. It made it clear to all of us here in the diaspora that we will come together and we will create a civilization that will astonish the world. There you are. That's the vision, huh? How we get there is through determination, resoluteness, honesty, integrity, and a willingness to adapt and to accept others for their own eccentricities. Because that's who they are. And in doing so, we increase the potential for Marcus Garvey's vision to come to pass. It will come to pass. That much I'm confident. I've got confidence in you. So take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Take care of your networks. Love and unity is what we would say. Love and unity. Thank you for your attention today. And watch out for the next podcast. Okay? Watch out for what we have to say. Thank you. Until the next time, I remain the motivator.